Alright, making another Do Not God video presentation. So there is this fake fight among, I don't know, people that call themselves something called anti-natalists. Now, I don't know exactly what that word means. Or, you against birth, you against nataling, you against breastfeeding, I don't know. But anyway, let's just say it has something to do with being against procreation or becoming impregnated, producing human beings, making them. So anti-making human beings. Okay. Why are you against it? Okay, I would argue because, well, it's dangerous. It's like playing with fire in your yard or something. It's like playing with a toxic chemical. It can go all kinds of bad. You can make a human being who kills people. You can make a human being that tortures them first. You can make a lot of rotten humans. And even if you don't, some of them will just be defective and broken. And we won't have the guts to throw them out, and they'll just bang into the walls and hurt themselves and get addicted to drugs and do this and do that, do all kinds of silly, stupid crap, and hurt themselves terribly, and it'll just a horrible thing to watch, blah, 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 blah. So don't make them, because they don't come out all happy and healthy and do wonderful things. They sometimes do horrible, awful things, blah, 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 blah. So the reason why you're anti-making babies is because baby making is dangerous, and it falls into the kind of category of a reckless endangerment. So I would call myself an anti-reckless endangermentist. It's a nice term, reckless endangerment, right? It defines a lot of different kinds of crimes, where you decide to, I don't know, put wrinkle cream on your face while you're driving or something. Or it could be, you're dangling porn in front of, 10-year-olds, doing some kind of other speed, pouring them drinks, lots of things that call it reckless endangerment. Now, apparently there's some people who are these anti-reckless endangermentists or anti-molesters or anti-this and anti-that. And they're complaining because somewhere they think somebody's advocating that we go out and shoot people who do it or something. I don't know. I mean, they're projecting all of this violence that's going to be, that somebody's talking about committing. I don't know. I didn't hear any. I make a lot of videos. I haven't heard anybody suggesting that we go out and just beat them with sticks or something. So, throw rocks at them. Let's get one of the old biblical solutions. What do they think the argument is here? So what they're suggesting is kind of insulting and silly, and they don't have any quotes to back it up. They don't have any evidence of this mass movement to do something about the reckless endangerment that's somehow too dangerous. It's too awful a crime. What are we going to do? Inconvenience them a little? Scold them? Oh, if we scold it, that's a violence, right? So they use a word like violence. They're against violence. Well, what is violence? Is violence taking a baby away from a heroin addict? Is that a violent act? Horrible violence committed? What's your, we punish people for putting wrinkle cream on while they're driving? Oh, what a horrible thing to do. What a dumb idea. We should punish something? We should deter it with legislation? Ooh, how horrible. What a dumb idea. I mean, this is a pathetically silly argument from, I'm just going to slander you. I mean, it is so frickin' stupid and vacuous and unevidenced, and it is just plain slander. And, you can always say, what are these people doing? What kind of 8-ball are they that they can't figure out that they're the menace to the project here? They're just like some kind of spy who are pretending to be, I'm against it, but I'm really not. They're, child molesters at the school. Okay, what's the example we can give? Oh yes, it's very bad. The preachers, preaching against it and then committing the crimes. You're saying, what are they in this for? They got to be spies. What else can they be? Because it's just too stupid an argument. So this is like a 3-minute and something video, so it shouldn't be much of an argument. And I'm sure it'll be vacuous and contain no evidence and just be a pile of mush implying that there's these horrible people out there who are suggesting all these horrible things that happen in the future to the reckless endangerers. Because no, we can't punish a reckless endangerer. I mean, look, if you have any kind of brain at all, using children to make your happiness is just as much a molestation as any pedophile in town. And we crucify the fuck out of them, right? We violence them brutally. But what's the difference? It's the same thing. They're getting off. Most pedophiles don't want to hurt anybody. They just want to get off. They just want to have happy. They want a win-win. The children like it. They like playing with their ding-dongs and stuff, and it's all kind of a fun game, sex. So it can be fun. But that's really not the point. It's dangerous to play sex games with children, so that's the point. It's not that it always turns out horrible. It's not that the child is always destroyed. No, it's just that you're opening the door to the destruction, the harm, the pain, the suffering. And parents are doing exactly the same thing. They're opening a big fat door to catastrophic failure, and we should understand that the failure is no more dramatic than the molested child failure. So if I argue that we should have proportional punishments for the breeders as we do for the molesters, there's no difference in their mindset. There's no difference in what they want. I mean, there's people right now, you see them on the news, who are so controlling of their kids that they've got them, they got boys wearing dresses, they got all kinds of crap going on, and it's completely engineered by what they are doing. None of it comes from the child, okay? It comes from what they have turned it into by asking it stupid questions it's not ready to answer. It has no frickin' clue. Ugh. I mean, you saw it when you were a kid, right? You saw mama's boys. You saw people. I mean, I had, there was a couple of nerds I tried to reform in my youth. And it's like their mother put their clothes out for them. They were in fucking high school. And they couldn't even dress themselves, for fuck's sake. I mean, parents molest their kids. It's, not just in sexual ways, but in all kinds of fucking ways. And it's a fucking fact. And it's a truth you don't want to do anything about. It's a sacred violation somehow. This is a special kind of molestation. It has to be put in a special kind of category. No, it's no difference. They're getting off on controlling their kids. They're getting off, like people get off dressing their dogs in sweaters and shit. They're getting off on playing some parenting game, okay? And they're using real children. So instead of a stuffed animal, something they can't screw up, they're playing with something real and something that's going to be affected by the traumas they impose. I mean, how many? There's so many cases of this. The moronic father who doesn't know a fucking thing about what the hell he's doing. He just smacks the kid in the head and all this crap, humiliates them, destroys any kind of normal psychology, any hope the kid has to get through life in one piece. You say these aren't crimes? They shouldn't be punished just as much as all the rest of these crimes that happen in the world? So anyway, this is just pathetic mush.
Do as of late about antinatalist activism, questions of what it should entail and how far it should go.
Well, you pompous, pretensive little twerp. I mean, this is Wayward Horizon, right? He called themselves Wayward, for a good reason, because every 3 weeks he changes his philosophy fundamentally. No consistency, week to week, month to month, and certainly not year to year. And so now apparently this is the year of the asshole. He's back doing asshole again, taking too many asshole pills. Had his head up too many asses.
While I don't intend to cover the full scope of it in this video, I will be leaving links below to some lovely people who already have.
How exciting. Yes, and I've already debunked their junk. It's this NG guy, some idiot who, I'll start my name with an N and leave the ending sort of ambiguous with a G, because it's good to have ambiguous N-words in the world. It's a really good thing to make, is more ambiguous N-words, because there aren't a ton of people trying to say right into your face, and they're trying to find all ways to hide them just saying the N word. So yes, give yourself every appearance of being a turd. Turtles. Yay.
And even though I won't be sharing my views explicitly here, I may in the future.
Oh, how exciting. They're not even his own views. These are just ones I saw on the sidewalk. Somebody wrote them in chalk on the sidewalk, and I said, oh, cool, views. I need some of those.
If you listen to the arguments I've linked, you can probably guess that I myself am skeptical towards the idea of antinatalism as a movement.
Right, so then why are you talking about it as if you're anything associated with it, you know anything about it? You apparently can't find a clue anywhere. You actually think there's something innately necessary about making babies, especially human ones. We need more living things waddling around struggling to survive, because struggling to survive is just so freaking cool. Even though you've totally failed at it, and let the record be known in a suicidal manner. Okay, I mean I could prove that, okay, from my own interactions with the fellow. So he's already been suicidal more than once, and yet he's sitting there doing this pro-life crap. I mean, shit. Yeah, there's just nothing will grow on your brain, right? It's just that it's so toxic, nothing reasonable can grow, just weeds.
Having said all that, there is something I would like to explicitly state, and it's regarding the question of the possibility of violent action in antinatalist activism. I will not mince words here.
Oh, gee, I'm so afraid that you're going to mince something. Yes, what can you mince? Oh, you're going to define what violence is? That would be swell if you just define what the fuck a violence is. Okay, again, is it violent for us to pass a law against children being obliged to grow up under the dictates of a crack whore? That crack whores should be responsible for the maturation of children. That would be an act of violence, would it? Or would that just be something we do because we're rational? Now, obviously, the reason why we don't do it now is because we're too fucking cheap. And that's it. Too many people are too greedy to sit there and say, oh yeah, let's socially take on the responsibility of raising those poor children that are going to be abused by that fucking crack whore. So they don't have the guts to do it because they don't want to pay for it. That's pretty much the simple answer.
Violence has no place in antinatalism. Full stop. It is neither moral nor practical.
I mean, what does that fucking mean? So when is it appropriate? Is it appropriate in veganism? Was violence in World War II appropriate? I mean, they kept some stupid humans. I mean, I could say they're not my kind of human, None of my people was in them camps, so fuck it. Who cares? Right? Is that the attitude I should have had? Or my ancestors should have had that kind of attitude? Them Nazis ain't bothering none of my people, so who cares? Go ahead and Nazi all you want. It don't matter to me none. That should be the attitude? No violence? No acts of violence against the perpetrators? No, just give them a free fucking ride. This is just nothing. As a principle, there's no underlying principle here. He's for violence when the cause matters to him, I'm sure. But when the cause doesn't matter to him, no, don't be violent. That's just being boogery. This is nonsense.
And I will explain why.
No,
1. Violence is not moral because it violates the basic principles of empathy and compassion that would lead one to antinatalism in the first place.
No, it doesn't. So if you saw a man physically beating a woman, you wouldn't use violence to stop him from continuing to beat the woman. This is an idiotic premise. There are places you use violence, and if you give a damn about the victims, you stop people from recklessly endangering. So again, what would you be willing to do? So there's some woman who's putting wrinkle cream on her face while she's driving, and she does it every day. Or there's frankly, whatever her name was, Scarlet Fever Mary. What the hell was her name? Some disease Mary, right? And she just carried it. She never got the disease. She just carried it, And so she killed family after family after family, but she wanted to be a cook. So even though she killed people, She kept pretending I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And we shouldn't stop her. We shouldn't, if it requires an act of violence, that is, we tell her you have to stay in this little pen over here and you just can't go out and get another cook job, okay? It's against the law. We put you in prison if you do it again. We're not allowed to do that? Oh, this is so pathetic.
Place. This should be obvious, but given that there are allegedly people out there who've had to be stopped from going out and killing their loved ones in the name
so again, any ideology in the universe has whack jobs. People who say, I did it for, and we know that's not why they did it. They'll blame their dog, for fuck's sake. They'll go out and shoot people and then say, my dog told me to. So this is his argument against a philosophy. That because it is possible that somebody could be crazy and say something idiotic, which is, I want to kill my family, can I say I did it because I'm anti-natalist? I mean, this is ludicrous. There's absolutely no evidence of any direct connection anywhere demonstrating that somehow anti-natalism made somebody violent. Absolutely zero evidence. This is just slander. This is just a douchebag saying, I can't win the argument rationally, so I'll win it completely irrationally by slandering people. I say you caused that person to become crazy. You had interaction with him, and it was your words who did it. There. Have I proven the case? Yes, I think Wayward Horizon did it. As part of his strategy. He wants somebody to kill his parents, so he made a deal with some loony, okay, some loony deal, that you pretend you're crazy, and then when you kill my parents, we can get you off because we'll prove you are insane. Some kind of horse shit like that. Now let me just make up crap and smear it on your fucking head, you creep. You petty piece of shit.
Name of antinatalism. It apparently needs to be said. I know there is always the question of misanthropic antinatalists, and while I'm not keen on the misanthropes, I think...
You're a sucky photographer besides the fact, right? He went to school and he still catches it. Oh, I couldn't figure out that I gotta hold the camera still. Maybe I gotta put it on a stick or something. So you can't even make a video as you. You have to make it as a fucking duck. Because you have such high integrity and want this to be a clear accusation you're making. The accusation should be understood just how well proven it is. What a piece of shit.
Even they would agree with what I've argued. 2. Violence is not practical because it achieves absolutely nothing outside of further increasing...
Except winning the war. Yeah, if you want to win the war, violence works really well. I just don't see too many people naming their kid Hitler anymore, do you? Hey, I guess it worked. Yeah? I guess so. Maybe someday nobody will name their kid Donald. They'll figure that one out too. It'll be just as big a, ooh, that's creepy.
The amount of suffering in the world and damaging antinatalism optically. I know many of you are still holding on to the idea of population zero as the...
Oh, whatever. It doesn't have to be zero. So again, no more nonsense, right? I mean, growth-wise. Obviously, growth doesn't have to get anywhere near zero to be extinction. So, but whatever.
Quote-unquote end game, and while you may be frustrated by the fact that achieving such a thing diplomatically is a pipe dream, allow me to...
Right, and again, a pipe dream built out of what evidence that it's a pipe dream? When we already know that a huge percentage of the world that has a high school education draws the conclusion that, yeah, it's potentially recklessly endangering to have children. It's a dangerous thing. It's not a real safe thing. It's not a guarantee thing. It's not like everything happens and everything turns out perfectly and everything's wonderful and happily ever after and all that horse shit. Lots of people know that it's not going to be a TV show. And if it is going to be a TV show, it's going to be like, I don't know, Breaking Bad or something. It's going to just be one pile of shit after another pile of shit after another pile of shit after another pile of shit. And all you're going to have in the end is, your fingernails are going to be worn down from scraping through the shit. And this is an asshole whose own life has been nothing but a big, tedious pile of crap. And here he is, talking shit. Trying to get more people buried in crap.
assure you that achieving it violently is doubly impossible.
So more nonsense. So again, who are you talking to? So you really think we all should make videos to the craziest people we can find on the internet? Let's go find the craziest nutters on the internet and give them attention. That's a great idea. That always disengages people who have violent tendencies, right? The more attention you give them, the more likely it is they're not going to be violent, right? Oh, I think it's the other way around. The more they think you're all going to pay attention and watch and be impressed and be afraid and be all this stuff, the more you react, the more they feed on it, retard. It's like the rapist who goes after, the woman, just, because he's got mommy issues or whatever. He's not really there for some sex. He's there for some whole other thing. Like somehow the less the woman screams, that'll work. No, it won't work. Just means he'll hit her harder.
Violent acts committed in the name of antinatalism will only serve to damage not only the word antinatalism, but the ideas as well.
Why don't you name names somewhere in here then? Why don't you out these psychopaths that are running around calling themselves antinatalists? Go show me the one making antinatalist videos who's a psycho. I can show you a couple links, to people making like fart videos. I mean, crude, stupid, idiotic emanations, about anti-procreation. They're so goddamn stupid. You're just saying, this asshole he's kind of a loose cannon. He's kind of the guy you don't want on your side. Okay? But you can find that anywhere in the universe, right? I mean, you sign up for a political party and there's going to be people in that party who are going to do things that are just going to humiliate you. I mean, it's like being gay or something, too. Another subject might have something to do with you. There's all kinds of organizations and they do things and, like act up and stuff. And I'm sure there's plenty of homosexuals that say, gee, I'm really uncomfortable with what you're doing. What do you want, why don't you talk to them? Why are you impugning a whole bunch of other people that have nothing to do with that? Absolutely nothing to do with it. Again, you're making some sort of innuendo argument here that somebody has suggested violence is the solution. Like somebody actually told somebody who wanted to kill their family, like, yeah, that's a really cool idea. Why don't you go do that? That'll be really great. Thank you for killing some people. Do you have any evidence that anybody did anything in the antinatalist community to tell the violent person it's a great idea? Do you have a single shred of evidence? No. And yet you're blaming them all. You're such a stupid fuck.
Perhaps even to the point where they would become politically unsalvageable. Antinatalists would be forced further underground and become even more isolated as a result.
Right. So that's just like the right to life folks. They were totally destroyed by the abortion blow-ups. That totally destroyed the movement. They're totally disabled. Now, wrong. They got even more aggressive. They go to people's funerals now in March. Ugh, fuck.
Unable to even express their views openly without being severely socially ostracized. This would be
Again, no evidence of any of this taking place. There's absolutely zero evidence that anybody who is a pro-natalist has ever... I've never seen a single argument from the opposing side saying, you made somebody violent and he killed his parents. There's not one single instance of any evidence of this whatsoever. It never happened as a real fact, and it never even happened as a probability. It just happened as a fake lie story that this douchebag made up. That's it.
disastrous, especially during a time when more and more people are beginning to talk about these ideas explicitly.
Right, but there's no point in talking about them if a bunch of liars are just going to make up a bunch of lies. So, yeah, but I haven't heard it yet. I really haven't heard this as being the... I never even heard Benatar even having to spend one little tiny bit of time explaining how, well, isn't your movement going to create a bunch of psychopaths who want to go kill their family? You know, he could answer the question, though, couldn't he? Well, how would killing his family after they had babies do anything prophylactic? You know, putting the condom on after, okay, doesn't do any good. So that would be really stupid. So violently putting a condom on your father after you shoot him in the head or something isn't going to work. It just has no practical chance of being effective. Shit.
Even on somewhat mainstream platforms. Again, this is something that shouldn't have to be pointed out, but the fact that it's even been put...
Yes, this video is the one that shouldn't have to be made, because fucking scummy liars like you, the whole nation should know. Let's go find these liars and slanderers and bullshitters, and let's put them in a cage, frankly. Let's say you have to grow up before you can be on the internet. You can't talk absolute shit on the internet. You can't lie on the internet. No, that's being a bad person. That's recklessly endangering things when you lie about them. You're a fucking liar. You've always been a fucking liar, and you're continuing to be a fucking liar, and we should have a law against it, frankly.
Put on the table as an option shows that it apparently does. Now, I've mostly been talking about violence against people, but luckily it seems the current
You've
risk
been
of that
just
is
making
low.
up...
What is more pertinent and
making up shit. Yes, you just made up fake scenarios that aren't real, that have no evidence for them. You just made up shit and smeared it on other people. And again, that shouldn't be something we as a civilization say, you know, that's really not a good idea, to lie about other people and confuse people and make fake stories, fake news. You're just proselytizing fake news in your cause. And what is your cause, you petty little weasel? What's your cause, weasel? What's really going on in your wayward little gear turning, you petty little weasel?
alarming is a question of whether we should kill animals or not, in this case specifically cats. And most of what I've already stated applies to them as well. Killing cats to, quote, put them out of their misery when there is nothing wrong with them physically.
Oh, except they're making more cats. Gee, that's the only thing wrong with them, is that they're recklessly endangering new generations over and over and over again. And if you want to fix the problem, if you want to prevent millions of them from existing, right, what's the simple solution? You turn the valve off once. One turn of the valve, doing it right once, fixes it forever. Doing it wrong forever makes it exist forever. Simple argument. So look, he is such a dishonest little weasel. I mean, this is obviously a subject I've brought up. This is obviously my subject, where I'm pointing out that all the resources to solve this problem are being squandered on paying veterinary bills. Vets are getting rich. They love this whole, oh, save the cat policy, because it makes them a ton of money. They get paid $50 to put them to sleep. They get paid hundreds of dollars to cut their nuts off and screw around with their ovaries. They make big frickin' bucks off of this. This is a huge industry for them to save the animals. And that's where all the resources are going. There's a ton of volunteers, but there's not nearly enough. The problem isn't getting better. It isn't getting fixed. The policy doesn't work. Putting an animal, forcing, so he's against violence, yet he would force surgery on me. That's what he would do. Okay, if I was a feral human, he would force surgery on me. Then he'd clip my little ear, and then he'd throw me back into the wild to eat garbage. That's how much he gives a fuck. That's how much he wants to prevent harm. Right? He doesn't give a fuck about harm. He gives a fuck about an image. Oh, I was a special hero because I save people by pulling their heads off. Fuck, you're a hero. You save heads, that's it. Yeah, he doesn't rescue the whole body, he just collects heads. Look at all the people I saved. Yeah, well, they're dead, but, you know, they're saved, aren't they? Because cats love eating garbage. They love fighting with each other. They love getting run over by cars. I mean, this is so pathetic.
Is not ethical. It is murder. And the fact that this argument has...
Right, so it's murder to put your grandmother to sleep when she's 97 years old and hasn't said anything for 6 years. It's, oh, that's murder. You unplugged her. That's murder. I mean, this is such crap. Absolute fucking crap. So it's murder. The cat is under anesthesia, and I pull the plug. And that's it. So it went to sleep. never felt a single harm. It just doesn't wake up. And it's a murder because, gee, so much harm was calculated. On my special wayward retard calculator, I hear all these screams of horror. The cat is screaming in horror that it didn't get to go back out there and beat the shit out of some other cats and eat some good old garbage, and puke its guts out and all that fun stuff. It didn't get to do any of that. It get poisoned. It didn't get to do all that fun stuff. Its fur falls off and shit. It didn't get to do all that fun stuff. It's crying desperately. That's all made up too. That's a story he's telling. Okay, so yeah, so they have this fake notion of harm. So harm means you didn't get to continue a life that was never intended to, that already Benatar said is better never to have happened. So you just rewrote the book to say, yes, well, we stopped the rest of the bullshit. Somehow he thinks if you start the story, you have to finish the story. You have to go kill some other cats, fight, get run over by a car, and die. You have to complete the story. Why do you have to complete it? Why does the cat need to complete the story? Just give me fucking anything close to a rational argument of why the cat has to complete the story. Why? What's going to be accomplished, retard? Oh, that's right. No point in me asking the question because none of these fucking cowards will ever answer one of them.
When put forward by those calling themselves vegetarians is remarkably surreal. It is also futile, as it doesn't matter how many you kill.
So again, it's not about killing. Even in the vegetarian argument, it's really not about the killing, right? It's this fast for some of the animals. I mean, it's really, really fast. It's ugly, but it's fast as fuck. There's really not that much ouch to it, as it happens so fast. All right? Not that I'm justifying, I'm just pointing out it's just a fact, okay? It's not much suffering, the death. The life is where there's the suffering with most of these animals. This being locked in the cage. Again, the feral cats. Cut its nuts off and then let it spend 6 months in a cage begging to be adopted. And because it's a little bit ugly and a little gnarly, it won't get adopted and you're going to kill it anyway. They're going to murder it. Do you know that, Wayward Horizon? Do you know that most of the feral cats are murdered by your system, by the system you embrace and endorse? That system fails and it makes veterinarians rich murdering them? Do you know that that's the actual fact, retard? Shit. That all of the surgery was for nothing because you're just going to murder the cat after you locked it in a cage for 6 months? Asshole.
They will always outbreed you. If anyone were to seriously do this, they would not be solving any problem, nor would they be doing something ethical. They would just be murdering animals.
So it's more nonsense. It'll actually work. That's how extermination works. You have to wipe out a generation, and you can do it humanely and gracefully. There's no argument. No one's advocating that we run cats over on the street, so it's just this fake argument. The argument is just instead of spending hundreds of dollars on per cat, you just spend the 50. And frankly, what you would do is we pass a law saying you can't be forced to pay $50 to put an animal to sleep. That's just outrageous. Obviously, they pay much more when they come to your house and do it. They $400, $500, $600 to humanely put animals to sleep. So to get them humanely put to sleep, we get gouged, totally gouged, and you're all comfortable with that. All the extra pain and suffering that costs because poor people can't even afford it. You don't give a fuck about this subject. You are so distant from actually giving a fuck. But you actually haven't thought about this for a motherfucking second. What would you do? What would the Wayward Horizon do when he has a bucket of feral cats in his yard? What's your grand, wonderful solution? Oh, I will first trap them, which they're going to hate passionately. They're going to really find the whole thing horribly traumatic, asshole. And then I'll do surgery on them. And then I'll put them up for sale for free. And no one will be buying them, though. And if somebody does take them, what does that mean? It means that some other cat isn't going to be a winner now. He's going to be the loser. He's not going to get adopted. So he's going to get put to sleep. And that's the fact, you fucking retard.
What is ethical and compassionate is giving as many cats as possible a safe, comfortable, and relatively happy existence.
So another big fat lie. That's not what they're doing for these feral cats. That's not where they end up. So it's just more horseshit. They throw them back on the street, asshole. That's why they clip their ears, so they can see, oh, I already cut that one's nuts off. I don't have to do it again. you know, you're not even on the subject, are you? You don't even know what the subject is. Oh, what an asshole.
Nothing in out without at least offering them some joy and love before they inevitably become old. I'm not interested in compelling anyone to listen to me, and it may indeed already...
Oh, how does anybody do that anyway? So is that something we're guilty of too? We compel people to listen to us. You know, we send the mob and put dead horse heads in their beds and shit. Yeah, you have to watch them and mend them videos or, you know, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Is that what we're doing? Fucking asshole. You can't compel an audience because you're a douche. Douche.
be too late, but I implore...
You can't attract one. Yeah, because you're repulsive.
Other antinatalists out there to strongly distance themselves from violent rhetoric and violent actions.
Right. Distance yourself from anything like being punitive or really prophylactic. Doing anything to discourage the behavior. Don't, in fact, say anything to make somebody feel bad or to in any way change their mind or any of that. Don't make a persuasive argument. That would be a silly thing to do. Because that you might have to call them stupid. Ooh.
Not just as a matter of optics, but also for the good of the soul. This shit is toxic, and
this shit is toxic, and you just used the word soul. That shit is toxic. Little fantasies about what's going on in your fucking weasel of a brain. There's no soul in your brain. There's just little weasel gears saying, I resent that person. He's smarter than me, or he's taller than me. You're a little resentful putz.
No place in antinatalism.
That was just pitifully, pitifully awful. So no back, 6 months from now, he'll be coming back with emails to me. Oh, I had a period, yeah, I was on cocaine, I was, licking dirt. Some sort of horseshit excuses for why, oh yeah, I get it now. I actually researched the subject. I found out I was completely full of shit again. Yeah. Be my friend. No. Fuck you. Ugh. Pathetic. So anyway, it's just the fact that any like I said, this is why you have to have some sort of rules. You can't do this, club membership's just $10 and you get a free bumper sticker, a free, and you let any asshole buy it. You just don't want the bumper sticker on any douchebag's car. Because he's going to have some other bumper sticker on it that's going to say exactly the opposite of what yours says. You have to have some standards, for fuck's sake. You can't just let any douche pretend they're a giver-dammer. Okay, when they're not. So anyway, okay. That's enough on that subject. And stay tuned for the more fun. Yeah. Like I said, you can't account for every kind of loony. Just can't do it. So, unfortunately, yeah, some people will talk absolute shit. But the funny part is that there's comments on his video. I mean, I should go to the comments, right? I mean, there's douches who found this argument in some way or another pleasing. And it's just so fucking stupid and so empty of evidence and so rationally indefensible. So, of course, the NG guy, thank you for linking to the videos and making this statement. So, I've obviously already done my video to the NG insane rhetoric. Anti-bullshit, man. Oh, this will be too much fun. Oh, it's just so long, though. It's a whole video worth of crap. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I have to make this video much longer now. But I have to hear what bullshit is bullshitting out of bullshit. It does always look like bullshit boy. But anyway, are you arguing against Gary's disciples, Gary/disciples, whatever that is? So exactly. Somehow this is my fault. It's my fault that somebody wants to kill their parents. I never made a video. Go kill your parents. Go force your dead father to wear a condom. I never gave instructions on how to put a condom on a corpse. Fuck. Okay. If so, random calls to violence is nothing new. So this is where, here we go again. Random calls to violence. Just do violence. I don't remember making that video either. I mean, I do have a lot of videos, but I think I remember if I made the just do an random act of violence today. Pick up your hammers and go. Smash, smash. I never made that video. I know I didn't. Okay, LARPing. What the fuck is that? Revolutionaries is nothing new. So he's against revolutions. Oh, jeez. So that we should never try. Never try to win. Just enjoy your failure. Oh, fuck. Self-indulgent fantasy. So just trying to solve any problems with reasonable legislation and rational laws. And no. I just suggested how we shouldn't allow veterinarians to gouge the fuck out of voluntary causes, right? They shouldn't be allowed to make a profit on feral cat disposal. Is that a horrible suggestion, that little piece of legislation? Anyway, waging wars against bioparents. I don't even know what that is. What's a bioparent? And not bioparents. Huh? What the fuck is he talking about now? Self-indulgent fantasies that see them waging wars against bioparents. No, waging a war against reckless endangerment. We finally call what having children is. It's usury, right? That word we understand, right? You understand the word usury, right? And you certainly understand the word exploitation, right? And it's exploitation of children, isn't it? I mean, is there some other way to look at it? They're having children because they want them. They don't have some rational cause. I mean, I guess there's some who are saying, we need more white people. And so they have babies because they're white. And they think they need to beat, the other races. They need to get into a race war or something. You think we should applaud that? Because at least they don't have a usury reason? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's such a better reason, right? Oh, that's so much smarter. Amazing. So we're not allowed to call it what it is. Reckless endangerment for personal gain. That's what it is. It isn't any better than some dopey woman putting on her wrinkle cream, frankly, while she's driving. No better. Anyway. And non-bio parents and the National Guard, ? And anyone else who would side with the parents. So there's all kinds of strategies for how you win a revolution, But frankly, I'm glad the French did it. I'm glad we followed up and did it. Good idea, I think. Kill the king, blah, blah, blah. Good idea. I personally am sort of for it, frankly. Sorry you're not. But you're one of those dopey Canadians who are living off what America did. America made your country, you fucking cunt. Yeah. You wouldn't have had one without us keeping you alive. You would have been invaded by Russia if we didn't protect your little butts. Okay, you would have been Russia's little Cuba. Yeah. Big Cuba. You would have been big Cuba. It would have been a little Cuba. Anyway, and everyone else who would side with parents is, okay, nothing but ideological revenge porn. So, again, where does this come into this anywhere? This is just such puke rhetoric, an armchair activism version. So, again, these whole people who, number one, they're not for fixing anything. And if you're going to fix it with what? Some kind of law telling people they can't be assholes? Oh, I mean, that's just outrageous. How dare you? How dare you? I wonder what kind of civilization this bullshit head would live in. I think he's one of these people who actually thinks you shouldn't punish criminals because they don't have free will, and so therefore they're not responsible. And instead you should just punish the victims. So yeah, just let all the rapists loose, because then we'll just punish the victims, because that's no worse than punishing the criminals, because yeah, it's just a brain in pain. So it doesn't matter that the victims didn't do it and the rapist did do it. No, it's just better. More victims, better. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's right. It's stupid. Fucking stupid. All right. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Ordinary personal revenge porn is bad enough. But when it's ideologically motivated. And again, what does that even mean? It's like I said, I'm not supposed to be disturbed by people recklessly endangering and creating what I know will be a disaster, because I've already lived one of the disasters. I've personally experienced the rape thingy, so I kind of know what it is in this case. And I'm not supposed to say, it'd be a good idea if we prevent that. Fuck. Amazing. Alright. Ideologically motivated and espoused by people who, last I checked, didn't believe in deservingness as a basic value. So who's he talking about there? I mean, obviously, I would like everybody to get exactly what they deserve. That would be like so yummy. Make me all feel gooey inside and everything. I'd get all, oh, God, that was good. Deserve having something to do with it? Oh, excellent. That makes a bad game a lot better. Anyway, it takes a struggling lack of self-discipline to make a staggering amount of lack of self-discipline to make sense of it and to push for it. So push for what, again, is this? What is he saying here? Oh, yeah, you'll never know. Because these are the bullshit, man. Alright, but I get that it's worth going over the problems with those views. My main gripe doesn't even assess the ethics or optics of it. So again, why should anyone be worried about the optics? I mean, that's for pussies and silly people. The only thing matters is the truth here, and let's get to that as quickly as possible. Let's make us some straight line drawings to the truth, please. I just condemn the unabashedly fantasyist essence of it. So again, what is a fantasy here? What's the fantasy? There's no way to stop drunk driving. There's no way to stop any crime. We should just give up. Nothing can ever be improved. Oh, okay. Fuck you. You're an idiot. Right now, billions of people can't even articulate a single upside when asked to contemplate our planet becoming a barren planet sometime in the future. Well, obviously global warming is not going to make it barren. It's going to make it exactly the opposite. It's just that it's going to inconvenience all the people whose homes are going to be flooded away. But anyway, so you have about 46 people who can't see a single downside to that, wanting to wage wars on billions who can't see a single upside to it. So again, this isn't a war against billions and all this nonsense. It's a war against ignorance, and that's it. I'm arguing that, yes, we know where the population problem exists. It doesn't exist when people have a high school education, and college makes it even better. So that's not where the problem is. The problem is where that stuff isn't happening. And how can we make that stuff happen in those nations? Well, we can make it by extorting them. We have the power. Most of Islam is dependent on UN food, for example. Lots of ways we can say, no, you have to open up a little bit. Okay, it doesn't have to be a whole bunch every year, but every year you have to become a little bit more sophisticated in how you function. And that means you're going to have to allow people to disagree with your ideological religious state thing. And they're going to have the right to say, I don't want to be living in a religious state. And that might be a good reason to allow people to leave Islam, is because they're not religious. Those are the ones you want, the non-religious nuts. They should be the ones you say, please, be a huddled mass in my country. But we do exactly the opposite, asswipe. Alright, so you have about 46 people who can't see a single... Well, we already did that crap. What does this even mean? What does this have to do with anti-natalism and the fact that there's real policies right now in place? There's a bunch of subsidies for having babies. Would it be an act of violence for me to suggest those subsidies should be discontinued and to politically work for that end? Is that an act of violence? What's your argument? What are you doing with this silly word violence? What does this word mean to you? What do you think is an act of violence, you fucking lunatics? Alright. Alright. Excluded are the views of a few hundred or thousand people who would see both the upsides and the downsides to that, though I venture there on the chopping block too. So he's doing his little subconscious thoughts in the middle of this fucking, typing of this gibberish. There's no continuity here. There's nothing to understand here. It's just a bunch of gibberish. The crew at the Foundational Research Institute is made up of, so what does this have to do with anything? Of thinkers who are suffering focused. Oh, are they? Yeah, I'm sure they are. Anyway, FRI accomplishes more in a month than those LARPers will in their lifetime. So where do we find this fact from? I wonder if that's what he works for them, maybe. Yeah, maybe he's a consultant. Yeah, this smells like such horse shit. The Foundational Research Institute. I mean, that just sounds like they're going to save the world, doesn't it? Doesn't that just sound like somebody out to save the world? Yeah. Anyway, because those researchers either, one, don't feel rage when having to confront opposing views. Oh, that means they don't care. Rape isn't important to them, so they don't care whether they win or lose. Child molesting doesn't matter to them. Yeah, we win, we lose, who cares? Okay, don't allow their feelings to rage to overcome them and control them. So again, and where's the evidence of this horrible event taking place, right? I mean, 95% of my videos aren't any more ragey than this one. Is this an outrageous amount of rage? Everybody should just be feeling like, I gotta go get my hammer and smash things. You know, I've just so incited rage. Have I incited rage? Amazing crap. All right, the ABCs of advocacy is still eluding so many wannabe effective advocates, and this is coming from somebody who, is effective how? I mean, I haven't heard your name even indirectly for 10 years. Anyway, as for the moral-immoral angle, you don't shoot someone in order to prevent them from punching and wounding an innocent person. Will you shoot them if they're going to infect them with ALS? I mean, what exactly? They're going to have a baby who's going to be retarded and go through 18 years of trauma until his heart explodes? I mean, how big a crime does it have to be exactly? How many dead people have to be on the road? How many are half-injured people or paralyzed kids have to be on the road before you give a damn? All right. If shooting them, again, I'm not defending shooting them. I'm just saying that the fact is they are guilty of a high crime here. This isn't some minor, they stubbed somebody's toe. They picked up somebody's foot and smashed it into the wall. The fact is the reckless endangerment means all kinds of endangerments are become real. All kinds of holocausts take place. Real, terrible, awful things happen. Oh, fuck. Alright, if shooting them is the only means to stopping the non-trivial assault, so who has suggested any of this? Where? Okay, anyway. In that you are witnessing the attack from afar, it is mostly wiser to let the smaller... So this is like the whole Branch Davidian thing, right? So if you know a guy is actually having his own grandchild, that is, he fucked the mother and then he fucked the daughter. Well, anyway, I mean, it's so inbred. Like, he's actually accomplished the 2-generational inbreeding. And say that was a whole group of people somewhere. And they were defiant. They were not going to give up their weapons, and they weren't going to not fight a war to win, and they weren't going to overpopulate the planet. They weren't going to do anything. They were completely non-compliant. You would just say, okay, I guess that you win. I'm not going to fight back. Oh, amazing. It is morally wiser to let the smaller wronging play out. So, again, he says there's some smaller wronging here somewhere. Where's the smaller wronging? Than it is to risk killing the wrongdoer by shooting. So where has anybody made these shooting videos? I just don't understand this argument at all. Where are the let's go out and anti-natalistly shoot. Let's get our own color camouflage and get some big guns. Where have those videos been made? I haven't seen any of these whatever you're calling this organized violent anti-natalist group. Where are they? Okay, likewise, it is better to let whatever that is strictly wrongful procreative acts off the legal hook than it is to normalize forced abortions or something adjacent to them. So again, you wouldn't do anything to solve the problem. You would just keep creating the problem. Let the problem keep regenerating. Why? Why would you do that? I think those are stupid ethics. I think the act of imposing abortion is a small crime to the act of taking care of and having to do something about the victims it will produce. Because there will be more than one of them, right? No. It's okay with you. Anyway, that's from one of my posts. Oh, he's just, dumping his crap here. Oh, I pooed this somewhere else. Let me rub some of it on this page. Okay. That's from one of my posts touching on degrees of wronging. Well, that's a real, for somebody who's such a verbophile, I mean, shouldn't need further explaining. Oh, please. What the fuck was that crap about? So this fake argument, there's a bunch of these arguments on the internet about how some way we as individuals are somehow going to solve the problem. And all I have to do is equate it to the animal cruelty argument. And, he would say that if somebody gets too aggressive and goes out there and, causes damage to a factory farm, that person is just too fucking stupid and crazy. Now, I can only empathize. I can say it's probably an act of futility, but frankly, I can't blame them. Just as I couldn't blame some Jew who might walk right up to the Nazis and try to break into the concentration camp and get a whole bunch of people out. Can't blame them from disrupting. Maybe even shoot a few guards. No, I'm not going to say, oh, what a shithead. I'm going to say, yeah, maybe it's bad strategy, and now the Nazis are onto you. They'll just put up a bigger fence. They'll just put landmines around. So you might not have done any good, but it's going to be harder to do it in a collective effort next time. If it's like the French Revolution. They sort of tell the story that they kept the whole thing really secret, so no fanatics went out and did anything because they didn't want the rich people to smell it happening. They didn't want them to get an odor of just how gross the dissatisfaction was getting. Smart. So yeah, it's better not to do stupid acts that won't finish the job. But when it's time to finish it, then it's not stupid anymore. Then it's heroic. Then it's America's defeating the Nazis. Big win. All right. Just no point, right? I mean, it's just too fucking stupid, these arguments. Yes, too stupid. All right. So enough of a video now. Well, that was just totally uncharming. I don't hold any resentment. I mean, anti-bullshit, man. I don't know what the fuck he went on. I don't know where he went on some sort of retreat where he learned, how to turn into a fucking anal putz. Who gets bent out of shape because 3 words are, in the wrong tense or something. I mean, it's just too anal. Anyway, till the next time and such. And so forth and whatnot.